My name's Andrew Dick. I've been an accountant now full-time for 35 years. Started many years ago. I've actually did some accounting when I was a teenager, and I actually did some filing for my dad, who started our practice in 1953. So I've actually been in the industry my entire life. We do everything from small sole traders up to large limited companies and everything in between. Well, actually, we've been all over MTD since George Osborne announced it back in March 2015. I mean, goodness me, here we are 10 years on, and we're still talking about MTD, and it still isn't there yet. So we've been involved with MTD from the off in everything to do with MTD. Hopefully, there's not another delay. It's a good question. Probably the major gain is actually we now have an excellent bookkeeping department since MTD came in, and actually that stands us in good stead for dealing with MTD for income tax. The major sticking points, and I've got the utmost respect for everybody at HMRC as individuals. The professionals are trying to do a job, and I totally respect that. So you've not got to take this the wrong way, but the sticking points is HMRC. I mean, quite frankly, for 10 years in, and how much money, well over £1 billion of money being spent, it's a disgrace that, we've had 5 delays, it's still not there yet, the guidance is changing on a daily basis. So to me, the major sticking point is at the HMRC end. Doesn't worry me in terms of the practice, it worries me in terms of the HMRC end. So I think that's the major sticking points. HMRC actually need to get this done. Well, genuinely, I think this is a mixed bag. I talk to lots of accountants. I've got accountants who are very good friends of mine, as well as obviously being active on the MTD therapy group and other groups, Facebook groups, etc. And accountants are at different stages, so some people are just ignoring it to think, well, we'll deal with it in February 26 if it comes in, if it's not delayed by then. Others are well on, got people in testing. I mean, I take my hat off to the people who are in testing, very brave, having to deal with all the chaos of changes. So I would say a mixed bag. I think more people should know about it generally, because let's be honest, if next year this ends up creating like a poll tax moment for the government, we've seen umpteen U-turns, everything's going to happen, take the winter fuel off pensioners, it all happens till it doesn't, and then they reverse it. So it'd be really disappointing if having gone through all this, there's a sort of riots in the streets or the poll tax moment, and then we've all wasted the time for the last 10 years. So I wish there was more sort of awareness amongst the general public, and that's down to HMRC. So ours is either the client does the quarterly update and files the quarterly update, or we do the bookkeeping and we file the quarterly update. There's far too much of a grey area, in my opinion, and good luck to people who want to actually provide that second level service of a check and review. So where's the ambiguity there? Now I know the quarterly updates actually have, there's no point to them, but equally sort of, if there is some fallback of that in the future, or the revenue change what they want out of those, let's be crystal clear, we're not offering that second tier. Either the client does it, files quarterly updates, we'll do the year-end accounts and tax return, or we do it. Simple as that. Without a doubt, change of behaviours. I had a set of accounts went out the other day, a hairdressing client. She's a lovely lady, but the change of behaviour required for her, who okay, she can take a photo on her phone to stick on Facebook, which the revenue seem to think that the people can do that. They can keep books and records digitally. Not necessarily. It's horses for courses. So I think the biggest challenge would be change of behaviours for clients who have, the clients don't, let's not worry about this, because either we'll do it or we'll guide them for them to do it. But in terms of the unrepresented person out there, good luck. It's the biggest challenge is change of behaviours. To be quite honest, none whatsoever. Look at the HMRC publications that actually scratch around and say, that these benefits, you know what your tax is earlier, you'll be more up to date with your bookkeeping, all of these sorts of things. You can do that now. Anyone who wants to do that can actually do that today. They don't have to have or be forced to keep digital records. So there's very little to none benefits for clients who are doing this, because they can have that anyway. It's all just another administrative burden. It's in terms of, here's another filing requirement. If you miss it, you're going to get penalties, points, and then you're going to get penalties. So actually, it's just another burden. It's another burden. It's as simple as that. Get to a settled position. Look at the changes in the guidance, seemingly, on a monthly, weekly, sometimes daily basis. The guidance is changing. They don't have a, when self-assessment came in, I've said this before on LinkedIn and whatever, when self-assessment came in, there was 2 books, I've got them in the back room there, and, year and a half before, it was set in stone, and those books were on every practitioner's desk, every HMRC officer's desk. Everyone knew they were working off the same hymn sheet. Whereas here, you can look at the guidance today and go, right, that's what I'm going to implement, changes tomorrow. Oh, right, now we've got to change this. So the best thing HMRC to do is to get to a settled position, so we can say, right, that's what we've got to implement. I don't think it's going to happen though. I think, look at the API endpoints changing and what have you. It isn't going to happen, but that's really what I would like to see happen, get to a settled position. The biggest frustration, why isn't this done? Why isn't this done? It's taken 10 years to get to here, 11 years by the time, if it comes in next year, and then obviously we've got 27 and 28, and that only takes over the 20,000. MTD seems to be abandoned pretty much for partnerships and companies, that's kicked into the long grass. We're going to have what's the end game in terms of, we're going to have a 2-tier system. What about the people under 20,000? What's happening with them? What about the people who actually don't have self-employed income but do a tax return? How's that going to work? There's no vision. There's no like, this is where we're going. So the biggest frustration is, begin with the 7 Habits book, Stephen Covey. Begin with the end in mind. We don't have a clue what the end in mind is. We've got what HMRC are saying, but actually, is that the end in mind? Bearing in mind this has changed so much since MTD was first announced back in 2015. So what is the end? It's just, there's no, you don't start building. I actually joke and say, if MTD is the moon, HMRC are building the rocket as the goal. Now, pressing the button on launch day is easy. Do you know what I mean? Bang, we're launching. But they're going to try and build the rocket on the way. Now, we actually don't even know what the moon is, or HMRC actually do know what their end game is, and they're not telling. We suspect quarterly tax payments. But what we're trying to do. So my biggest frustration is where we're going with this. Where's the end goal? We've got this hodgepodge. We've already got a hodgepodge of, simple assessments, all of these sorts of things which don't link up. The capital gain stuff doesn't link into the tax return. That's a joke. The new systems built. So the biggest frustration is probably, what's the end goal and the delays. But actually, there's so many frustrations with HMRC. And again, this isn't getting at the people. There was a post by someone on LinkedIn which I didn't respond to about they said, professions shouldn't abuse HMRC. It's not abuse. We're talking facts. They don't answer the phone. They don't answer letters timelessly. So actually, these genuine frustrations are, coming to boil on things like MTD. I've noticed collaboration has come into the profession a lot more in recent years. I mean, take the MTD therapy group here, people are sharing stories, giving tips, it's all really, really helpful stuff. And you're seeing that a lot more across the profession. Well, it's been a good help because, there's things we've found out on MTD therapy that I didn't know, sort of, the 1st to the 5th of April sort of thing. All sorts of things like that. That's actually crept into the MTD therapy group. It's been a real help. Got to watch it doesn't take over your day. I mean, goodness me, it's really enjoyable. I'm glad to be part of it. Genuinely speaking, right? Okay, I have been dead against MTD from the off, okay? But let's put that to one side, and that's the past. And as professionals, we always act in the best interest of our clients, and we always make sure that they comply with what they've got to do. HMRC have decided that MTD is going ahead, okay, we've got to get on with it. The battle of whether it's right or wrong, or whether we agree it's gone, okay, we've got to look at the future. You know, the future is digital records, e-invoicing, it's bound to come in, okay? So we've got to think, is this is a digital future? HMRC have got to re-platform their systems, you know, because some of the systems they've got behind the scenes, the back office stuff is it archaic? So really the top and bottom of it is, you know, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Let's look. And actually, personally, I mean, actually one of the comments I put in the MTD therapy group was actually my little arc, which I got ChatGPT to make Andy's arc, and you know, that's what I would say to professionals. You know, set up your store. You know, what are you going to deal with? Make sure you don't take any water on your board. You know, get your systems, your procedures, everything you want to do, and everyone's different. You can do it how you want, and sort of just, you know, help who you can. You know, because you know the HMRC are creating a tsunami of people, you know, who are going to be beating the path to professionals' doors. We can't help all of them. Put your own oxygen mask on first, you know, and just approach it how you want. But we've got to get on board. We're going to have to deal with this where the troops in the front line. I've put my hoodie on as the Sage King of the North, and you know, wish everyone well with MTD, and hope it all goes well for everybody. And just remember, we can do this. We're professionals. We're absolute warriors. We can deal with this. So, and this is my office wall. This isn't the background. This is my office wall here. So I'm going to go home now. Have a great weekend. Cheers.